Hello, I'm Max.
And I'm Ida.
Welcome back to the Queer Misadventures.
This will be a podcast where we examine historical figures and determine their gayness.
100%.
100%.
Today, we're visiting the ancient land of Mesopotamia to visit and meet the most pansexual man you will ever find.
Yes, we have done this take previously and he said gay, so...
That was a mistake, okay?
Yeah, whatever, pansexual erasure. So Gilgamesh.
Gilgamesh.
I think many people have heard of this because it's also in an anime.
Of course it is.
Of course it is. Which looks nothing like him.
Because
But
he's not blonde.
he's not blonde, he's Mesopotamia for fuck's sake.
I mean, let's be honest, Enkidu's character design was worse.
Yeah, that's true.
They made him a green woman. No, a green-haired woman with long-ass hair.
Okay, anyways, enough references to that godforsaken thing. So,
Who is Gilgamesh?
who's Gilgamesh? Good question. He was a renowned king of Uruk, which is what actually happens. The only factual thing in this whole thing is that Gilgamesh was an actual person in the kingdom of... No,
Uruk?
not kingdom, sorry, in the city of Uruk. And they made an epic out of him because he was just that cool. And it's the war... it's the first...
Is the first work of fiction to ever survive this planet.
Yeah. Well, yes, it's the first work of fiction that we have that still survives. So obviously it's very looked at as something like
Like, oh my god.
I should start reading. I'm gonna start reading from Gilgamesh onwards.
No. Anyway, so sadly only a few tablets have survived and some haven't been found yet.
Yeah,
So we
it's
only
not the
have
whole
a
story.
part of the story.
We only have a part, and it's still gay as shit.
Of course it is. So these tablets, the story dates back to the year of 2100 before Christ, BC. So the 22nd century.
Before Christ. So it's a very long time ago, like
Like, I think even farther than...
4,000 years ago.
So the oldest civilization.
So we're obviously both. Actually, I think we should introduce ourselves. We're both queer, so we're both bad at math. So
Exactly.
I'm Ida. I'm a lesbian who is engaged, and Max is
I am a gay who is not engaged.
who is single as fuck. But yes, today we will be looking at the levels of gayness that this
Exactly.
tiny piece of text contains. It's amazing.
At the end of this episode, we will be rating their gayness on a scale from 1 to 10. Or Lady Gaga.
And kissing
To
the homies
Madonna.
goodnight.
Kissing the homie goodnight.
Yes, okay. Let's go on.
Gilgamesh. So the story starts out with introducing us to our king, Slay. Sadly, he's not the kind of king that you'd wanna
Have
have.
as a
Exactly.
king.
Because he's a bad man.
So
My
it's
guy
sad.
raped anything and everything he could find. A bowl.
Yes.
He found a vase and raped that shit out of it. Like raped the shit out of that vase.
Of course, the famous ancient vases. Yeah, so it was said that he left no woman for her husband and no son for his dad. So
His
like,
father.
what that means, I don't know. Did he rape both? I think he only raped the women because it's mentioned that he had like an army of people protecting the palace. But maybe he raped both. That's okay.
That's fine.
That's fine.
But you know, pots have no gender. Anyway.
Yes, and Gilgamesh is not a man. He is actually 3/3
A demigod.
god. So yeah, that makes him a demigod. 3/3 god and 1/3 man, which I think
that's like
is,
Americans saying that I'm 4/3 Italian.
I'm 15% Italian. Okay, so you better shut the fuck up. So yeah. And there's a bit of mythological context that we will be introducing as we recount the story of Gilgamesh and his buddy, totally not boyfriend, Enkidu. Like the mythology and everything. So yeah, let's get started. That's the first tablet.
Yes,
Is
the
the
first
one-
tablet is the birth of Enkidu.
No, the first tablet is that introduces us to Gilgamesh.
Oh, the prologue, yeah.
The prologue introduces us to Gilgamesh. And the actual first tablet is
Exactly.
the birth of Enkidu.
Yeah, the coming of Enkidu.
The coming
Oh,
of
oh,
the
he
coming.
came. He came already. 7 days and 7 nights.
Okay, stop spoiling them. So what happened is, the people were so sick of Gilgamesh because he was so powerful.
And
All
he
the girls fawned over him.
And he was a tyrant.
He was a tyrant, kind of, but they still loved him for some reason. So yeah, they prayed. They prayed really hard to
They prayed their tits off.
They prayed their tits off to Anu, which is like the father god in Mesopotamian mythology.
Mm-hmm.
He's the god of the firmament, so that means basically
he's like the Zeus of
your
Mesopotamia.
everyday Zeus or like
or God in Christianity.
in Christian or Allah.
Allah.
Yallah. Okay, yeah. So they prayed that a man who could rival Gilgamesh would be created into existence, and that man
is Enkidu.
Exactly. So that's the first chapter is called The Coming of Enkidu.
Because he came.
It's everything is very homoerotic in this book.
So homoerotic.
Yeah, so what's really interesting is that they refer to Enkidu using womanly terms all the time.
But also like really, really masculine terms sometimes too.
Yes.
Like
so
beast or something like that.
At first it's said that Anu, so this god, the father of gods in the pantheon, basically, told to Arudu, the goddess of creation, you made him, O Arudu, which she made Gilgamesh. Now create his equal. Let it be as his own reflection. So basically, that strikes me as something that you would say about your significant other. Like, your equal, your own reflection.
Like, yeah, exactly. Like, this is my other half.
Exactly. So yeah, that's the first instance that there is of like putting them both on the same ground.
Level.
Yeah, they stand way over. Like, do you only find out that Gilgamesh has a wife at the end of the story?
Exactly, and actually, like, it's really interesting to see that they put a beast in the same level as a demigod king.
Exactly.
And in the end, they do become best friends, and Gilgamesh loved his best friend.
Oh, he loved him.
My guy went to hell for him.
I'm saying they literally did. He went to
literally
hell. Okay, so yes, Enkidu's hair is described as. Let me read the description. His body was rough. He had long hair like a woman's. It waved like the hair of Nisaba, the goddess of corn. His body was covered with matted hair, like Samukhans, the god of cattle. So he had long hair like a woman, but his body was covered in hair.
So they describe him like so throughout the entire book. They keep describing him as a beast, like a bull, a cow, but his top half, his head, his beauty was described like a woman's.
It's insane. It's really like the first instance of bear culture.
Or not like Viking culture, you know, like the new Viking style that's been coming around on TikTok of men growing their hair out and beard out.
Oh,
like
yes,
Vikings.
yes. Big love that. I love when they braid their
beards.
beards. It's really funny and cute.
The statue of Enkidu and Gilgamesh actually have braided beards.
They do?
Yeah, you just showed it to me.
Okay, anyways.
Anyway.
So, yeah. What happens after that is that they create Enkidu. And I think they kind of fuck up because bro he grows up with a beast. Quote unquote, Enkidu ate grass in the hills with the gazelle and lurked with the wild beast at the water holes. He had joy of the water with the herds of wild game.
My guy was like Tarzan, or that one kid, what was his name? From the Jungle Book.
Isn't that the same movie?
No.
Shut up. Don't call me that. We are on air.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so.
Whoopsies. But no, like it's so strikingly similar to Tarzan, a human who was, or human, in quote, born with the beasts and raised like a beast.
Yeah, so that's basically Enkidu, and it's the first instance of that, like, trope being used. So the curious thing is that he didn't ever eat other beasts until he came to the city. Enkidu ate grass. Like, my man was a vegetarian.
He was a herbivore.
Like, he could have been born in this century and be just a regular ass man on Grindr.
Yeah, because they're all vegetarians
They're
for
all
some
vegetarians and grow their hair long, like luscious. Like even I don't have that hair.
reason. Sadly, I do.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So
We're like the stereotype of the gays.
yeah, kind of. Lesbian with short hair, gay man with luscious long locks that shine in the. Okay, they're not that pretty.
Okay. Not as pretty as Enkidu's.
Exactly. Nothing is as pretty as Enkidu, as this book will make clear.
Exactly.
Anyways, what happens after that is that
When he visits the city,
no,
they fought.
no, wait. Before that, so there's a hunter annoyed at Enkidu because Enkidu keeps helping the beasts escape his traps. So he's like, what the fuck is this? Like, it's because Enkidu apparently, like, he moves on 4 legs. So he's really confused as to what this creature is. So
Imagine seeing some random ass bear crawling towards you.
So this hunter goes to Gilgamesh and he's like, hey Gilgamesh, there's this guy roaming the pastures and I can't catch shit. And Gilgamesh is like, okay, you know what you're gonna do? Send him a prostitute. And he will have so much sex that he will stop annoying you. And that's exactly what happens.
Not only does he not annoy the hunter anymore, he annoys the gods.
He annoys the gods. Yes, so
It's actually really funny because the prostitute, what was her name? Shamhat?
the prostitute's name is Shamhat, and she actually does show up later on as well. So they bring Shamhat to Enkidu,
And they fuck for
they
7
copulate.
days.
They have intercourse for 7 days and 7 nights, as explicitly stated in the book.
But like, how long?
I know.
Like, okay, people telling me, yeah, we had sex for 8 hours. That's like enough.
That's enough, but no.
But like, no,
Enkidu went at it.
days and 7 nights.
I'm saying. And after this, he was like... Okay, before this in the text, Enkidu is like portrayed as like kind of a very innocent creature.
Yeah.
And after that, he becomes human. It's like, you know, the
Like-
original myth of sin.
Like humanity is sort of like the bad thing. Like you're even more of a beast if you're human, and if you're
Yeah.
just an innocent animal, you're something. You're a natural creation of God.
Yeah, you're innocent.
hmm
But after this, he's no longer swift as the gazelles, and he's like, I can't belong here anymore. I don't know what to do. And Shamhat is like, shh, baby girl, let me take you to the city. So they go to Uruk. And in Uruk, that's the name of the city that Gilgamesh rules. Gilgamesh is like, so what about this, like, beast,
Bear man.
bear woman thing? And yes, so the prostitute tells Enkidu that he should visit Gilgamesh. And she says, oh Enkidu, you who love life, I will show you Gilgamesh, a man of many moods. And she says, you shall look at him well in his radiant manhood. Which to me is a little sus. I don't know about you, but that radiant manhood thing, their very first meeting is very like heavily sexual, like
Not even sexual. It's so like it always keeps mentioning their bodies and their quote unquote manhood, which I think they're just describing their penises.
I'm pretty sure, yes. So yes, then okay, Gilgamesh has a dream, and he tells his dream to his mother, who is Ninsum, and she is one of the minor gods in the Mesopotamian pantheon. It's just like this theme of dreams keeps reoccurring, by the way. Ninsum is like, Gilgamesh is like, Mom, I had a dream. A meteor of the stuff of Anu fell down from heaven. I tried to lift it, but it proved too heavy. And to me, its attraction was like the love of a woman. So what he is referring to, and here is a meteor of Anu stuff, is the clay that's formed Enkidu. And they have a lot of premonitory dreams in the text. And to me, its attraction was like the love of a woman. They keep saying this about each other.
So 2 things.
Yes.
The fact that he number one called the clay stuff is so funny to me.
They say stuff a lot. It's really
And
funny.
the fact that the theme of dreams keeps reoccurring, it presents the idea of a dream as something real, like a place that you go to.
Yes, that's
like
true.
like a realm you go to, and anything you witness there is actually like real.
I wonder if the Mesopotamians had like a dream realm, because they have the realms of heaven and hell.
And other realms that I think I've heard of, but I won't mention because then again I might be wrong.
Yeah, exactly. As you often are.
But their description of like of each other, calling each other like, oh, he's like a woman, his hair, his eyes, his body, etc. Like it's so gay.
Yes, I know. But then later he says, and you, Gilgamesh, to Ninsum, and you yourself pronounce it my brother. Which, okay, it's something we need to address, because there's people that interpret them as siblings. That's okay, because it does say brother. But I think it's much more complex than that. Because typically in Asian societies, the word brother doesn't just mean brother.
Exactly. Like sometimes it can mean someone who you look up to, or it can just mean someone that you're really close with.
Exactly, you're as close as brothers. But it also means that he's, in my interpretation, it means that Enkidu is also half god, or like
Or
somewhat godly.
Exactly. And because they're like mirrors of each other, which most brothers are almost mirrors of each other because they look alike. Maybe that could be some kind of, I don't know, similarity between them, that they're alike.
And this is the gayest of quotes. Ninsun, who clearly ships it, said, he is the strongest of wild creatures. The stuff of Anu, born in the grasslands and the wild hills, reared him. When you see him, you will be glad. You will love him as a woman, and he will never forsake you.
That is just so gay.
It's so gay, like, and I thought it's so beautiful, like, it's very beautiful.
Because she's telling him, like, this is something made for you, for your own benefit, and you will love him as you love a woman.
Exactly, it's basically the other half myth. Because Gilgamesh is lonely. That's why he does all the things he does, because there's no equal to him in the land. That is why he quote unquote rapes women, which is not like explicitly said, but it's heavily implied.
Exactly.
He goes around raping women. He goes around getting all these men into his army because he's just so bored.
And this presents a challenge to him, something that will actually make him want to live. And Enkidu does end up doing that. It gives him a reason to live, because when Enkidu asked or pleaded to Gilgamesh that he wants to return to the wild, or because he's homesick, you know?
Yes.
And like Gilgamesh does that for him because he cares for him.
And that's what I love. Cares for him. Yeah, it's a more complex relationship in the entire thing, like in the entire book. It's a more complex relationship than, for example, Enkidu has with Shamhat, who is theoretically his love interest.
Or his prostitute?
I don't know, it's a concubine, but yes. So after this dream thing, they actually meet, and it's the weirdest scene in the whole book.
I was so confused while reading it.
Yes, it's a very weird scene. So Gilgamesh is... there's a wedding about to happen in Uruk, and before the night of the wedding, the bride is resting at a wedding house. And Gilgamesh is like, I will enter, and before she marries, I will make her mine, because he's very bored. So, that's what Gilgamesh says, sorry. And the Shamhat sends Enkidu to go confront him, because he can't keep getting away with it.
Exactly.
He can't keep getting away with it.
Stop.
This needs to stop. So, at this point, they're presented as like rivals, okay? So, Enkidu says... Enkidu says, I will challenge him boldly. I will cry aloud in Uruk. I have come to change the old order, for I am the strongest here. So he is directly facing opposite to Gilgamesh.
He is literally challenging him, not directly, but like shouting it to the world.
Exactly.
Like announcing it.
Exactly. It's like everyone's business.
Exactly.
Honestly, they make it everyone's business. And then there's another line which I highlighted, which is very like, now Gilgamesh has met his match. This great one, this hero whose beauty is like a god. He is an even match for Gilgamesh. So anyways.
So this quote is presenting Enkidu as a hero, while Gilgamesh is like a villain. But then they both either switch roles or they become equal, because it's like It's like a chemical solution. You don't know this stuff because
I
you
quit chemistry when I
quit
was
chemistry,
14.
but it's like an alkali and an acid. If you mix them together, they just cancel each other out, which is really cool.
It's really cool, and I even think like later on in the book, Gilgamesh's villainous nature doesn't stop, but it leads to the demise of his partner, which is what truly makes him stop his ways. But anyhow, so the weirdest scene, here it comes. Mighty Gilgamesh came on, and Enkidu met him at the gate of the bright house. He put out his foot and prevented Gilgamesh from entering the house, so they grappled, holding each other like bulls. They broke the doorposts and the walls shook. They snorted like bulls locked together. They shattered the doorposts and the walls shook.
It's giving aggressive sex.
It's giving very aggressive sex. Gilgamesh bent his knee with his foot planted on the ground, and with a turn, Enkidu was thrown. Then immediately his fury died. When Enkidu was thrown, he said to Gilgamesh, "There is not another like you in the world. Ninsun, who is as strong as a wild ox in the byre, she was the mother who bore you, and now you are raised above all men, and Enlil has given you the kingship. For your strength surpasses the strength of men." So after this, the sentence is, so Enkidu and Gilgamesh embraced, and their friendship was sealed.
That is so weird because, first of all, they fight in a room, a really small room.
They don't even fight in a room. They fight at the doorpost, like at the entrance of a small building.
Where, by the way, a woman is lying in her bed.
Yes.
Thinking about her wedding, like, oh my god, I'm gonna get married. And then she just sees some random ass bull being thrown at the door.
like it's so funny to me. And they embraced in friendship. Okay.
So basically they fought, he got up and he was like, bro!
Hey bro, what's up?
bro.
What's completely up?
And then they just hug. And that's it. That's just like the end of the chapter.
Yeah, but we also have to say that to embrace has different connotations in ancient texts. And
Exactly.
we will say that that's that on that.
That they might have smooched.
Smooched a little bit.
Just
they
a little
might have
bit.
like okay, so that's that for the first chapter, the coming of Enkidu. Anyways.
This is a wild ass chapter.
Yes.
Well, for me it's 3 chapters, but in your book it's like one.
In
like
my
one
book,
long chapter.
I read it from the official Penguin Classics.
I mean, mine is also Penguin Classics, but it's in Spanish, so it's adapted differently.
Pingüinos Clásicos.
Pingüinos Clásicos.
Yeah. So this chapter is the second chapter in my book. So it's the one most people are reading because Penguin Books is cheap and available.
What is the 4th chapter? Can you believe that?
Yes, but no one cares. So it's called The Forest Journey, or The Journey into the Forest of the Cedars.
Well, for me it's El viaje al bosque de los cedros, but I read it as de los cerdos, so like it's the pig forest, obviously.
The pig forest. Okay, let's go into the pig forest. So what happens in this chapter? By this point, Enkidu is like, I will be your servant because I lost to you, to Gilgamesh, but that gimmick lasts very little. It's just said that Lord Gilgamesh and his servant Enkidu just one time, but yes. So Enkidu is crying. By the way, they cry a lot in this book.
I mean, hey,
boys cry too. Vulnerable. They are so vulnerable.
Like, es que crying and whimpering men.
What?
You don't get it because you're
shut up. That's
lesbian.
disgusting.
You're
No,
lesbian.
I don't want crying and whimpering men.
Okay. So
Anyways.
he cries because he's so weak. Oh my god.
Because apparently having sex for 7 days and 7 nights took
Has
away his
weakened
strength.
him.
Yeah. And he
or
wants
has
to
made him
return.
more like human.
Yes. So he
Yeah.
wants to return to his homeland so he can become strong again.
And I quote, I'm oppressed by idleness.
Exactly.
My guy's bored at the castle, and so would I. I mean, no, not really. I'd be basking in the gold.
Me too. But yeah, he's weak and he doesn't want to be weak because he was made to be strong. He was made to be a companion and an equal to Gilgamesh.
Mm-hmm.
So Gilgamesh met his eye and said, "My friend, why do you sigh so bitterly?" And he explains everything. So Gilgamesh decides, well, this is my bestie. By the way, by this point, they're sleeping in the same room, at least.
Well, it's also implied in the same bed.
Yeah, it's implied that they sleep in the same bed because every time they wake up, they tell each other
Their dreams.
their
They're like
dreams.
side by side, but like baby girl.
And they interpret it in a very Freudian, very cool way.
Okay, that's funny.
That's yes.
Anyway.
So they have to go to the cedar forest, which is where Enkidu was raised. But Enkidu is like, but there's a creepazoidic creature there by the name of Humbaba, which is
A battering ram beast chimera.
that's you don't have to literally read the notes. But yes,
Yes.
he's a battering ram,
Beast.
a beast,
Chimera.
and a chimera.
So basically, he's like this, like Enkidu, but like even worse and even wilder for
Yes,
some reason.
exactly.
Which technically is weird because he's like Humbaba was described as a battering ram, a beast, or a chimera, but he does share some human qualities. Like, for example, he speaks to Gilgamesh and literally
he
says
wields
to him,
weapons.
literally says to Gilgamesh, which by the way, this is creepy as hell. He's like, Gilgamesh, you look so young, like your mother has just birthed you.
Like,
Like,
is he okay?
that is
Okay.
a bit disgusting.
Yeah, okay, anyways. Gilgamesh, also, this scene, which is really funny. Gilgamesh tries to breastfeed a child. He's like, Gilgamesh took up a child, white without spot, and a brown one with it, because Gilgamesh does not discriminate. This is part of his inclusivity campaign. And he held them against his breast, and he carried them into the presence of the sun.
God bless Uruk.
Whatever that means, I think it's beautiful.
I love the fact that it's like, I picked up a white child, but also like a brown one. It's like also a brown one.
Also
just,
a brown
just
one.
so you know, I'm not racist.
I'm not racist. I'm a good king, I swear. So, yes. They go to the blacksmith, so they get weapons. The Gilgamesh's axe is also like foreshadowed in one of his dreams. So everything happens in dreams before it happens in reality in this epic, which is very epic of them. And they also have a bow.
I feel like, if you like, don't get me wrong, but like, I feel like this is just my personal opinion that Thor was heavily based off of Enkidu because of the luscious, thick hair.
Yes.
The axe, which hammer, you know.
The axe hammer, yeah.
And the fact that he was born from the gods.
I think all polytheistic religions have many stereotypes in common. Like here, there's Anu, which closely resembles Zeus
Or Odin.
or Odin. No, not Odin. No, what was it?
No, it was Odin.
It was Odin?
Odin was
Is the equivalent of Zeus?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
In Norse mythology.
Well, then Odin is way cooler.
But my guy had like, I mean, hey.
My guy cross-dressed.
Exactly, but like, hear me out. Zeus birthed a child from his knee.
Zeus birthed a child from every single place in his body.
Except his ass, obviously.
Because
he's not a woman.
Exactly, es que...
He doesn't shit out. He doesn't shit out babies, but
Anyways.
they do crawl out of his forehead.
So before they go on a journey, Ninsun, the mother of Gilgamesh, is super worried for him because no one has ever met Humbaba because he was put there as the guardian of the forest. Like the gods put him there.
But it's also like they know that Gilgamesh is stronger than him because it is heavily implied that, like throughout the book, that Gilgamesh is the strongest person
around
the like Uruk and place like that, you know.
So Ninsun is like to Enkidu, strong Enkidu, you're not a child of my body, but I will receive you as my adopted son. And later on, she says, I entrust my son to you, bring him back to me safely. So I highlighted this because it closely reminds me of marital vows. Like, you are now my adopted son, like the son of whoever my child marries, you know?
Yeah, it's giving like mother-in-law.
Mother-in-law, exactly.
It's like, it's so cute.
It's very cute. Like, I love the relationship, honestly. I know why they made an anime of it.
I'm still upset that they made Enkidu a woman.
I don't think he's a
long
woman.
Green hair.
He's just like, okay, no.
Or maybe he's a femboy with long green hair.
Amazing.
Anyway.
Yes, so they embark in this journey, and at some point Enkidu is like, Do not go down into the forest. And this is one of the most epic speeches that Gilgamesh gives to Enkidu. One of many. One of many because he is so dramatically in love and poetic. Yes. So, you, he says to Enkidu, you, who are tried in wars and battles, hold close to me now, and you will feel no fear of death. Like, keep beside me, and your weakness will pass. The trembling will leave your hand. Would my friend rather stay behind? No. We will go down together into the heart of the forest. Let your courage be roused by the battle to come. Forget death and follow me, a man resolute in action, but one who is not foolhardy. When two go together, each will protect himself and shield his companion, important word, companion.
Companion.
And if they fall, they leave an enduring name.
Okay, so first of all,
yes.
So this is transcribed, and companion can have many synonyms, and one of them is partner.
Exactly, partner, companion. It's just very. They're made for each other. They're each other's partners, companions.
They're literally each other's mirror. Mm-hmm. And for example, spoiler alert: when Enkidu dies.
Yeah, because he does die.
Gilgamesh feels like a part of him is lost.
Yes.
He's so depressed at the end. It's so adorable, but also so sad.
It's very sad, but since like this is to 4,000 years old, I don't really feel sad.
Exactly.
Yeah, and also I forgot to mention that when they went into Egelma, which is the Great Palace, it says they took each other by the hand as they went to Egelma. They literally went side by side.
Holding hands.
How cute is that?
Cute.
I never thought I would catch myself fangirling over
like that
4,000-year-old man.
That one quote made me love their relationship when they held hands going into a dangerous place.
And this is not the only instance where they hold hands.
When I think it was Enkidu who had a nightmare, or either it was Gilgamesh.
Yeah, and he held his hand, I think. But we will get to that eventually. So, eventually they get to the place they wanted to go. This is a very heavy, action-heavy chapter. So they find Humbaba and cut down the cedar that Humbaba was made to protect. The big ass cedar.
I think it was the oldest cedar tree or something.
Yeah, something like that. Mm-hmm. And they cut it down, and Humbaba is like, "How dare you!" And
super angry and
super angry,
super horny. I mean, no.
No, he's not. He's not. Like, I envisioned him as an orc, so let me not have that vision in my head. So yes,
trust me, I have had that vision.
The thing is, no, leave me alone. So Gilgamesh, in the middle of fighting this gigantic man, this battering ram, he falls asleep.
Yeah, he's like, me.
He literally falls asleep, and Enkidu is like, wake up!
He's like, wake the fuck up, we're about to be murdered.
You fucked up big time. Yes. Yes, so after he says that,
I love that he just took a nap.
he literally took a nap and like, let me just me. This guy was probably narcoleptic and he didn't even know.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, he dealt the first blow to Humbaba. They asked for help to the gods. The god, what was his name? Shamash? Yeah, it's Shamash. Mm-hmm. To the god Shamash, god of the sun.
Yeah, here.
For help to beat Humbaba. Gilgamesh dealt the first blow with his axe, and Enkidu struck the second blow, which I really like because it's like they bet him together. Mm-hmm. And without each other, they couldn't have done that. I mean, Enkidu in the first place didn't want to because he's like the most peaceful of the duo.
Well, that was before he killed a goddess unnecessarily.
Shh. Anyways, and at the third blow, Humbaba fell.
I feel like these two are like the representation of Sparta and Athens back in the day, where they were like, Athens
totally.
is so peaceful and like kind and shit, and then there's like Sparta.
Yeah. And also, it's like every gay couple, exactly. not even gay, every couple.
The what was it called? Sun and moon relationship.
Sun and moon relationship. I feel like that archetype really fits them. Mm-hmm. Like Gilgamesh is the sun. He's so magnanimous. He's always like, I'm the best. I'm the strongest. Except when
Enkidu murders a goddess unnecessarily.
Like, okay, yeah. They're both men at the end of the day, so violence is bound to be.
Exactly. Sparta.
Yes, we're not gonna do the third chapter yet, but like a quote, really interesting quote from the beginning of the third chapter. Gilgamesh washed out his long locks and cleaned his weapons. He flung back his hair from his shoulders. Isn't
So
he a diva?
He's so girl boss. He just flipped his hair and he's like, bitch,
He's a
I'm
girl-
Madonna.
He's a girl boss. Yeah, okay. So that's the end of the second chapter.
Yeah.
The most action-packed chapter, actually.
Well,
So,
alrighty.
chapter 3. Ishtar and Gilgamesh and the death of Enkidu. Oh, so this chapter, for as old as this is, it evokes so many emotions. And I was actually on the verge of tears reading this.
I cannot.
I cannot. We are very, very emotionally attached
To Enkidu.
to Enkidu.
Not really that much to Gilgamesh, but to Enkidu, yes. very
Yes,
much.
yes. So as we said, Gilgamesh. This chapter starts by Gilgamesh, flinging back his hair like a diva,
Exactly. Like, just like, I'm a girl boss.
and then Ishtar, which is the goddess of the Mesopotamian goddess of love and war, and fertility.
And fertility.
So
She's like the Athena?
no, Athena, Aphrodite.
Aphrodite, sorry.
Aphrodite. Yeah, so as we can see, Aphrodite also had this quality of making people fall in love for evil purposes, like fucking them over, because love was not seen as this great, beautiful thing.
It was seen as something that would doom you, as it was for literally every Greek god.
Every Greek god, and here for our body Gilgamesh. So
It is also the same.
yes. So it's an interesting start of the chapter because we get this description of Gilgamesh like flinging back his hair, and then we get a description of his beauty.
Of his feminine beauty.
And glorious Ishtar lifted her eyes, seeing the beauty of Gilgamesh. She said, "Come to me, Gilgamesh, and be my bridegroom." So Ishtar, this the goddess of love, is literally so enamored by
Gilgamesh.
But Gilgamesh, that she's like, "You shall be mine." And I think this is important to mention because it reverses the roles. Because a man was supposed to court the woman, but Gilgamesh is just so
Beautiful.
doesn't give a fuck.
It's breathtaking.
Exactly, he's absolutely breathtaking, as is Enkidu. They're both like
So as it was mentioned in the beginning, they were mirrors. So as they described Enkidu as a glorious, beautiful, feminine figure,
yes,
and yet also masculine, Gilgamesh is the same. Sure, less hairy, but
less hairy.
But in beauty and in strength, they are the same.
And Gilgamesh doesn't have that long of a hair at the beginning, but as he grows closer to Enkidu, and when Enkidu dies, he grows out his hair in his honor. So I think that's very, very
Cute.
very cute, very powerful. Anyway, so Ishtar approaches Gilgamesh and she's like, "Be my bridegroom." And Gilgamesh is like, No, I know your story. I know you betrayed literally every man you ever slept with. Which of your lovers did you ever love forever? What shepherd of yours has pleased you for all time? And he tells many stories where she fooled several men, both gods,
and like demigods and
demigods,
human.
men, like anything.
So she like essentially is the Aphrodite of
Yes, she is.
Mesopotamia because she tricks men into falling for her, and she uses them for her own pleasure and just for her own
Yes.
privileges.
I just think it's very interesting how love was associated with war,
Not only with war, but
betrayal,
weakness.
weakness, and doom. Yeah.
Exactly. So throughout this book, throughout this chapter itself,
Yes.
it is shown that if you are in love, you're doomed.
Like Ishtar. And even Ishtar's love for Gilgamesh, which is not really love,
It's just
enamorment.
sexual appeal.
Yeah. So she says to Ishtar is the daughter of Anu, which is the god of all gods. So she tells, "Daddy, give me the bull of heaven to destroy Gilgamesh. Fill Gilgamesh, I say, with arrogance to his destruction." So the bowl of heaven is this thing that Anu gave to Ishtar, and it's like a huge bowl made out of lapis lazuli and gold.
Yeah.
And it causes destruction all over.
And in some translations, it has two heads. So maybe
Yes.
it could have inspired the Hounds of Hell.
Yeah,
Who
maybe,
knows?
perhaps. Yeah, because all these mythologies shared, like,
Similarities and they were inspired by each other.
yes,
As the Roman
mythology.
the Roman gods were basically copies of the Greek gods.
Yes. Polytheistic religions basically had the same god, so it's quite easy for like Western viewers, even if we're not really acquainted with Mesopotamian mythology, which is like a very niche area of expertise.
Exactly,
So
because we know nothing about it yet.
yes, I mean, so this book is really good because I've learned a lot about and I definitely recommend it as a read. You will end up crying, yes, which is, I just think it's insane.
It's so cool that this is an epic,
Mhm.
and you still feel like it's a work of modern fiction.
Not only is it an epic, but it's 4,000 years old at least, and it was probably even longer in the oral tradition.
Exactly.
Mm.
And not only that, but this is just part of the story. We have
Oh.
not discovered any more of the tablets.
I hope they do. I really hope they do. Like,
And even these tablets that they have currently, they're so destroyed that they only can get some of the words and assume the story.
Exactly. The translation is not 100%.
Which is why we're just saying that it might have been gayer than this.
Yeah, it's they obviously lost a tablet where Enkidu and Gilgamesh have explicit gay sex, but let's.
Hardcore gay
Okay.
sex.
There's probably an AO3 fanfiction for that.
We should look it up.
We should look it up. We will look it up later. Anyways. Yes. So this bull of hell, she is so pissed, and she is obviously portrayed, Ishtar is, as a very childish person for doing this, because Gilgamesh doesn't love you back, you don't need to destroy Uruk, but that's what she tries to do.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the bull went to the river. With his first snort, he cracked
I'm sorry,
open the
but-
earth.
But it's giving Ishtar's giving a lot of Agamemnon vibes for me. The god where he's like, I'm more powerful than you, so I'm gonna doom my whole army just because I don't like you.
And she's giving BPD.
Oh, very much.
Anyways, I can say that because I have BPD. Okay, next. Yeah. With his first snort, cracks open the earth, and 100 young men fall down to the death.
So basically, he fell on men.
Yeah.
He's just like he landed his ass on,
No,
on
I
like a
think
bunch of men's heads.
Like, it's even funnier to just imagine that, like, he snorted, and the earth cracked open, and 100 men fell. So
like they fell through the cracks of the earth. That's
This-
actually so funny to me.
yes, with the second snort, cracks opened again, and 200 men fell to the death.
So it's just like they're multiplying now.
They're multiplying, exactly. And with his third snort, cracks opened again, and Enkidu doubled over, but instantly recovered because he's just that cool.
He's just that powerful. He's so overpowered. It's giving
Maris 2.
no, it's giving Terminator.
Wait, sorry. Garis 2. Garis 2 is the male version of Maris 2.
Okay, whatever. No, I think my Terminator joke was better.
Well, I was not kidding. Anyways, he dodged aside and leapt on the bull and seized it by the horns. So he was the first cowboy. Let's be real.
Yeah, my guy invented
Invented
rodeos.
cowboys. Yeah, all those cowboy boys on TikTok nowadays, they owe everything to Enkidu. Yeah, so they managed to kill it, and after
the
that,
death,
they tell that its horns were lapis lazuli and its body was gold or something like that.
that's actually so beautiful.
I know, right? If only it didn't cause destruction and death.
And opened two cracks in the earth and swallowed exactly 200 people. That should be like a news report. We
I
just
wish.
got some breaking news. So random ass bowl thing made out of gold and lapis lazuli has just opened up a hole in the world. 100 people have died. Oh, whoops! Another one has opened. 200 dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Breaking news. It must have been wild back then.
I know, right?
Actually, they must have been really born to make this shit up. So they kill it, and this is a very beautiful thing. So, very beautiful quote, they say. Then, after killing the thing, because of course it was Gilgamesh and Enkidu together, because they do everything together. Then they washed their hands in Euphrates, the river, and they embraced each other and went away. So, if you ever visit Iraq, go and wash your hands in the Euphrates river to just be just like them. But only if you're gay. If not, you're not allowed.
So, in my book,
yes?
they're described as, so after the death of the bull, they take the heart of the bull and they deposit it in front of Shamash.
Oh, as an offering.
As an offering. And they took a step back, and in the presence of the god, they sat down together to watch the sunset.
Oh my god, that's so cute!
It's so cute.
No, I'm not okay. And to think that they die.
Well, I mean, they're 4,000. They're like 4,000 years old.
Okay, they could have survived. I don't care.
Is it 4,000? Am I counting right?
Yeah, 4,000. We're not good at math, obviously.
Yeah.
Gay people.
Gay people.
So, there's this part where after they do this, Shamash is like mad. Like, is it Shamash?
Yeah, it is Shamash.
Who is mad at them?
Because it says here, Shamash took the council together, and Anu said to Anil.
Okay, yeah.
There's a lot of god names here.
Yeah, so we're kind of confused because we're not familiar.
Exactly.
But anyway, so the Council of Gods decided these people are messed up. First, they went into the forest of the cedars and killed the guardian that was explicitly put there to guard the great cedar. Just cut down the cedar.
What's funny is that the guard didn't even notice them cutting down the cedar because...
Yeah.
Just, by the way, cutting down the biggest tree in the world must have taken some time, okay?
Yes! I'm saying, like, he only noticed them after.
He's like, is that a tree that just fell? Oh no, it's the tree that I'm meant to be guarding, but I didn't.
Exactly. So Shamash put this guy in place there, and he's mad that they killed him. And not only did they kill Shamash, but they also killed the Bull of Heaven, which is a very precious gift that Anu gave to Ishtar.
And that's what doomed Enkidu, because he killed Shamash. Okay, let's just say that for no reason, but he did have a reason. But Shamash was just doing what was told to do.
Who?
Shamash.
Shamash? Why Shamash?
Weren't they the person that sent down or gave Ishtar the...
No, that's Anu. Ishtar's father.
Sorry, yeah.
It's okay. And then there's this description of...
But, I mean, technically, Shamash was super mad at them. And Enkidu was like, nah! And then he's like, pfft. Like, he bashed her head? Is it her? It's a her. I do remember.
Shamash?
Yeah, Shamash. Because
Shamash is a man.
Oh. Then who was the goddess that Enkidu killed for no reason?
He didn't kill anyone.
Kasi. I remember reading it somewhere.
We will analyze further.
Wait.
Okay, while you do that, let me read this.
Okay.
So this means that they are cursed. They are cursed by the gods, and there is no escaping it. So this is the quote unquote. So Enkidu lay stretched out before Gilgamesh. His tears ran down in streams as he said to Gilgamesh, "Oh, my brother, so dear as you are to me, brother. Yet they will take me from you." Again he said, "I must sit down on the threshold of death, and never again will I see my dear brother with my eyes."
Okay, so what happened was they didn't kill Shamash, they killed Ishtar.
They did not kill Ishtar.
Kasi.
The divine bull sent by the goddess Ishtar.
Oh, oopsies.
I'm sorry, guys. It's a very common running theme that Max can't read.
I'm dyslexic.
He is dyslexic. Anyways. Yes. So it made Enkidu sick. And by the way, the whole reason why they went to the forest and stuff, besides giving Enkidu a returning to his birthplace, it was also because Gilgamesh, since he was born, he was giving this mission, this prophecy for him.
There was no god that was killed. Here it says.
Okay, good. There it is.
There it is.
So just the bull of heaven. Anyway, so Enkidu...
Oh, but they did kill a demon.
Who?
Huwawa?
Huwawa? I think that's Humbaba. Anyways, leave this aside.
Wikipedia is not trusted anymore.
Wikipedia is not a trusted source.
Okay, back to the book.
Back to the book. It was prophesied for Gilgamesh to have his name carved in bricks and remembered.
Wait, I'm cutting in to mention that Huwawa is probably the
Humbaba.
Sumerian version of Humbaba, just like how Gilgamesh was the Sumerian version of Gilgamesh.
Yes, we were talking about it, how it's really funny, just Gilgamesh. Bill Gates.
He was probably called William Mesh.
Bill Gates Mesh. So yes, it was no, shut up. It was it was Gilgamesh's prophecy to have his name remembered. But here he breaks down because after all he tried to have his name remembered, even after rejecting Ishtar, killing the bull of heaven. It was all to have his name remembered and go down as a hero in Mesopotamian history.
But, well, I mean, he did, but not
in
the way that he wanted.
He did, which would make him happy, I think. But it was to the death of Enkidu.
Yeah, sadly.
Anyways, he's talking about the cedar here. Ah, if only some future king had brought you here, or some god had fashioned you. Let him obliterate my name and write his own, and the curse fall on him, instead of Enkidu. So basically, So Gilgamesh says about the cedar tree. Ah, if only some future king had brought you here, or some god had fashioned you. Let him obliterate my name and write his own, and the curse fall on him instead of on Enkidu. So he would give up even on his prophecy, his very life mission, just to save Enkidu.
That is just... Oh...
It's just so...
It's so beautiful.
I know, it's so beautiful. Tell me he's not in love. He is in love.
Literally like... I was kicking my feet from excitement and like...
Yes.
And like in pure amusement. I was like, oh my god, this is so cute.
This book is so much more amusing than any Hollencouver or whatever his name is. Hollencouver?
I have no clue who you're talking about.
Okay.
Anyways. Like, this is more interesting than Twilight, okay?
Yes. Anyways, here's some beautiful imagery. With the first brightening of dawn, Enkidu raised his head and wept before the sun god. In the brilliance of the sunlight, his tears streamed down. So my poor guy, they were both crying, throwing a fit, because my guy was going to die, even after all of this. So the Shamash, the sun god, tries to comfort Enkidu and says, anyways... And has not Gilgamesh, your own brother, made you rest on a royal bed and recline on a couch at his left hand? So this implies that yes, they did sleep in the same bed.
Mm-hmm.
In the royal bed, by the way. And by the way, Gilgamesh has a wife and a son.
Yeah, just like by the way. And we didn't even realize this until like the end.
They are just mentioned at the end, and we're just expected to okay.
It's giving Daisy's daughter in The Great Gatsby. Only mentioned once.
Only mentioned once.
Or maybe it was twice, but like barely.
Yes. And it also says, when you are dead, he will let his hair grow long for your sake, to Enkidu.
Number 1, that is adorable.
Yes.
Number 2, that is adorable.
And in remembrance of him, how cute is that? I love this.
You cannot tell me that they are not lovers.
Oh, and by the way,
because
for his ceremonial funerary ceremonies,
yeah, it says here,
he
builds a statue
of
his
him.
friend.
He builds a statue of Enkidu, and he uses in his tomb he uses the very lapis lazuli that they grasped from the bull of heaven.
Mm-hmm. So to represent what caused his demise, and that and
what united them together, how they fought in life and death, and it's just so beautiful. Mm-hmm. And here is in the Penguin version, there's by the way, Gilgamesh cries so much in this chapter. He cries 4 separate times. It's mentioned that he's weeping.
This quote is both funny, sad, and cute.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So Gilgamesh had peeled off his clothes. He listened to his words and wept quick tears. Gilgamesh listened, and his tears flowed.
Number 1, he tears his clothes off. Like,
He peels them like a banana. Yeah.
he's like, come here, baby girl, like seductively.
Stop. He's dying. So in the Penguin version, this is one of the few parts that survives in prose, and it's after Enkidu was came down with an illness for 12.
Yeah.
12?
It was 12
days, and then he dies.
Mm-hmm. But so this is like one of the only tablets that survived fully.
Mm-hmm.
So now you actually have the actually transcribed words and not just assumed words.
Yes. So, yes. So I'm gonna read out this part because I think it's very beautiful. Hear me, great ones of Uruk. I weep for Enkidu, my friend, bitterly moaning like a woman mourning. I weep for my brother. O Enkidu, my brother, you were the axe at my side, my hand's strength, the sword in my belt, the shield before me, a glorious robe, my fairest ornament. An evil fate has robbed me. The wild ass, and the gazelle, that were father and mother. All long-tailed creatures that nourished you, weep for you, and the wild things of the plain and pastures, the paths that you loved in the forest of cedars, night and day murmur. Let the great ones of strong-walled Uruk weep for you. Let the finger of blessing be stretched out in mourning. Enkidu, young brother. Hark! There is an echo through all the country, like a mother mourning. Weep all the paths that we walked together. And the beasts we hunted, the bear and the hyena, tiger and panther, leopard and lion, the stag and the ibex, the bull and the doe, the river along whose banks we used to walk, weeps for you. Ula of Elam and dear Euphrates, where once we drew water from the water skins, the mountain we climbed, where we slew the watchman, weeps for you. The warriors of strong-walled Uruk, where the bull of heaven was killed, weep for you. All the people of Eridu, weep for you, Enkidu. Those who brought grain for your eating mourn for you now. Who rubbed oil on your back mourn for you now. Who poured beer for your drinking mourn for you now. The harlot who anointed you with fragrant ointment laments for you now. The women at the palace who brought you a wife. By the way, he has a wife, never mentioned again. A chosen ring of good advice lament for you now. And the young men your brothers, as though they were women, go long-haired in mourning. What is the sleep which holds you now? You are lost in the dark and cannot hear me.
So, a bunch of things we want to mention.
Yes, but first, appreciate how poetic.
Not only how poetic, but how beautiful that was.
And emotional.
I've read books, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But in none of them, when a character dies, have I ever heard a speech like this.
It's just so heartfelt. And how can they survive for so long and still bring up these emotions in us? It's incredible.
I'm amazed at the speech.
Yes.
But in a way that I'm like, how the fuck?
Yes.
It's so beautiful.
It's very beautiful. So yes, comment your things while I drink my water.
Yes. Okay. So, I love the fact that he says, bitterly mourning like a woman... bitterly moaning like a woman mourning. I weep for my brother. It is so cute because he's like, I am a woman.
Exactly.
In mourning.
They are comparing themselves. They keep comparing each other to
women.
To women.
Constantly.
Which one? No toxic masculinity. They don't care about being compared to women.
So cute. Let's just put aside the fact that he raped women at the beginning.
I don't think he raped women. My personal interpretation is that he was just so hot that all the women flocked to him.
Maybe.
But yeah.
So, and the description of him being an ornament, it is a bit, I don't know, weird. But it is, his most prized possession.
Not even possession. You were the axe at my side. He was what gave him power. His sword. His fairest ornament. How...
And the all long-tailed creatures that nourished you weep for you. It's so pretty because it's you will be remembered by everyone who's ever seen you, which is literally his wish. He wished that he was remembered like soldiers who would die in battle. Mm-hmm. And he was literally in the chapter before he said that I will not be remembered like the ones who've died in battle, but
yes,
now
but
he will. So that was his final wish, and it has been accomplished
by Gilgamesh. Now I think we can confidently say lover.
I know, right? And the fact that he has a wife is kind of like...
They both have wives.
I mean, hey, polyamory was a thing back then, okay?
Sure, okay. So, after this speech...
And during the speech, he mentioned that all of his brothers, aka
all the
soldiers
men,
who fought with him, will now grow their hairs...
as though they were women.
Mm-hmm. In his memory. That is so cute.
Yes, because he was like... One of his characteristics was his long mane of hair.
Mm-hmm.
How beautiful. Like, okay, I need to get over this. So, when Gilgamesh touched his heart, it did not beat. So Gilgamesh laid a veil, as one veils the bride, over his friend.
That, you cannot come to me and try to convince me that is not gay.
You cannot come to me and try to convince me that this is not queer-coded.
No. It is most definitely.
It most definitely is. Like, as a bride. They could not marry in life, so obviously they marry in death.
So they marry in death.
I'm gonna start crying that ass. So, Gilgamesh lamented 7 days and 7 nights he wept for Enkidu. And if you remember, that's a common theme, 7 days and 7 nights.
Oh, and that will be mentioned again in one of Gilgamesh's later journeys in this book.
Yes. 7 days and 7 nights is also how long Enkidu laid with Shamhat the prostitute.
Which also gives off the vibe that they have done it.
They definitely have. In the first chapter. Anyways.
when they were smashing through the doors.
They were smashing through the doors like...
Hardcore gay sex.
Stop! So yes, that's the saddest chapter. We end with laughing because this man just cannot...
I cannot hold myself from commenting on hardcore gay sex.
Stop. So yes. Okay, so we are now going to cover the very last chapters, which are the search for everlasting life of Gilgamesh.
He probably just feels like really vulnerable because Enkidu has just died and Enkidu is supposed to be his equal in strength.
Mm-hmm. The section starts, the chapter 4, this is chapter 4, we're gonna merge the last few chapters into one because they're quite short.
I don't know how it's chapter 4 for you, but for me it's the 9th.
Insane. Anyways, his book is divided into tablets and in mine they reconstructed like chapters with a natural narrative flow. I know, insane. Anyways, it starts. Bitterly, Gilgamesh wept for his friend Enkidu. He wandered over the wilderness as a hunter. He roamed over the plains. In his bitterness he cried, "How can I rest? How can I be at peace? Despair is in my heart. What my brother is now, that shall I be when I am dead." So not only is he like wandering the wilderness like Enkidu was made to, like at the beginning,
but he's like reminiscing in what made him, or what Enkidu felt was home. So yes. This is what like reminds him of Enkidu.
He's clearly going through a grief, the episodes of grief, and he is very alarmed by this fact that he's not immortal, despite being the child of gods. He is not immortal. Just second that this is still recording. Yes. Okay. So
this has happened before.
Yes. So he tries to find Utnapishtim, whom they call the faraway, and he is Utnapishtim in this.
So Utnapishtim is a figure in Mesopotamian mythology who was born immortal, but has gained the knowledge
of immortality.
Not power, but the knowledge of immortality, and has become immortal.
Yes.
However, he hasn't been seen in many years. So
yes, he has that journey to find him, and it reveals how he became immortal and everything, yada yada. So it's not that entertaining without Enkidu. What can I say? He was kind of the driving force of this story.
Yeah.
But anyway, another part that is kind of queer, actually not kind of, queer.
Very
queer. For Enkidu, I love him dearly. Together we endured all kinds of hardships. On his account I have become. For the common lot of man has taken him. I have wept for him day and night. I would not give up his body for burial. I thought my friend would come back because of my weeping. Since he went, my life is nothing.
It's giving when Achilles kept Patroclus' body in his tent for like 10 days.
Stop! Oh my god, imagine the smell, Jesus Christ.
I know, right?
It's giving. It's giving.
Like when I was reading the Song of Achilles, I was like, how the fuck is he sleeping with that smell?
He just loves him so much. So, anyways, this is a weird journey starts here, and he asked this creature called the man scorpion, which is a man and a scorpion mixture.
I also highlighted that. I was like, that's so strange.
Yeah. Could we say queer?
I mean, in Mesopotamian mythology, almost everything is associated with an animal or a beast. And I think it's because they associate beasts with innocence. Not with innocence as in they're good, but innocence as in they can't sin.
They can't sin like mankind can.
So that's associated with godlike creatures.
So this is the first smash of truth that Gilgamesh gets from Samash. And he tells him, "You will never find the life for which you are searching."
Damn, okay.
Like I think he's telling him that about Enkidu, which is very sad, because
he's saying like you will never find someone like Enkidu,
or you will never find like Enkidu brought back to life, and there's
or not brought back to life, because he's seeking immortality for himself, not for Enkidu. But
yeah, in the Garden of the Gods, he's not there when he visits, so he has to come to terms with the fact that Enkidu is lost. And that's very heartbreaking.
Enkidu isn't actually a god like Gilgamesh.
Yeah, Gilgamesh.
Because Gilgamesh would go to the Garden of Gods if he dies, but
not
Enkidu is man. Well, not man. He's a beast.
He's a dude made out of clay.
He's not even a living thing, so to say.
Yeah, he's clay.
He's literally just rock.
That's so sad. Anyways. So there's this reoccurring theme where everyone who Gilgamesh comes across, every god, goddess, they ask him, "Why is despair in your heart and your face like the face of one who has made a long journey?" So this implies that his grief for Enkidu was so severe that it changed how he looked. You know how people, when they're sad, they look a different way?
Or not even, for example, in most people's depressive periods. They don't take care of themselves. So I'm assuming that is the same case for Gilgamesh.
They said he is disheveled.
And also because he grew out his hair in commemoration of Enkidu.
I'm so sad.
So that could look like he hasn't been taking care of his looks.
And he's talking to Siduri, who is a goddess, I think. I'm not sure. Well, he's talking to Siduri, and he says... another thing I highlighted because, oh my god, he does not shut up about this. "How can I be silent? How can I rest when Enkidu, whom I love, is dust, and I too shall die and be laid in the earth?" He is, heartbroken not only over Enkidu, but of the condition of mankind. So he wants to seek Utnapishtim so he can tell him how to stay alive forever. How does he do that?
So like the knowledge of immortality isn't only like him staying alive, but it's like the knowledge of the world.
Yes.
Being immortal isn't only living for a long period of time, it's becoming wise.
It really is, and Utnapishtim is portrayed as an extremely wise figure. But anyhow, through a long journey, he goes to the Garden of Heaven, doesn't he? He goes like through a very, very dark pathway at some point for days and days upon end, and the darkness does not cease, and he feels like he's going to die.
It was so I'm probably making this up, but I read somewhere that he went through the dark forest.
Yes, he went through the dark forest
for days and days without rest.
Yes,
and this leads to him failing one of the tests of Utnapishtim.
Does he?
Yes.
Does he fail?
He literally sleeps through the
That's right.
the 7 days test.
Oh my god, what a dumbass. The 7 days of the loaves of bread, right? Okay.
Where he's like, you have to stay awake for 7 days and 7 nights.
If he falls asleep on the first one.
Literally.
He's such a loser.
I wrote in my notes, the dickhead falls asleep.
Yeah, anyways, he ends up meeting Utnapishtim through shenanigans. And Utnapishtim recounts a very random, like... This is completely, like... I need to stop saying, like... this is completely different from the story that we have been told so far, in that the Gilgamesh is not present in this. He is recounting the flood, the story of the flood. So in many mythologies, in many religions, there is a great flood that happens. Does it happen in Islam as well?
Don't ask me.
Okay, true. So, for example, in Christianity and in Jewish, the first
like in
the Old Testament.
Yeah, it is.
In many religions, there's a flood that happens.
Because it does happen in Greek mythology too, I'm assuming. I have heard of it.
Yes,
of Poseidon doing something, I can't remember.
Some fucked up shit, yeah.
I mean, Poseidon does everything at some point.
Yes, so the story of the flood.
Any bad thing in Greek mythology, blame Poseidon.
So Utnapishtim recounts to him the story of the flood, where the gods agreed to exterminate humanity. Because, yes, this is what happens in every religion. The gods create humanity and they're like, oh my god, what have we done?
We fucked up.
We fucked up big time. And it's actually Ishtar who, like, brings upon the flood. And
I mean, fuck Ishtar, dude.
Ishtar is so annoying. Anyways, yes, so... this faggot is filing down his nails as I read this, anyways. Yeah, so Utnapishtim is charged with the task to build an ark, which will be very familiar to religious people, as Noah did.
Noah's Ark.
Noah's Ark. And...
which is actually one of my favorite, like...
biblical stories?
Yeah. Not only that, but I mean, it's in so many religions.
That's true, that's true.
But it is kind of funny that Noah's Ark is just a boat with literally every single species, times 2, by the way.
Yeah.
Because he had to bring 2 of them so they can procreate. Every single species on one boat.
It makes no sense.
Can you imagine the millions of fish on that boat dying?
No, because the fish were already...
in the sea?
Exactly.
True.
And, oh my god, Ishtar is so...
But like, just imagine all the insects on the boat.
But Ishtar is so cunty and funny because she says, I commanded wars to destroy the people, but are they not my people, for I fought them forth? Now, like the spawn of fish, they float in the ocean. So she was comparing people to fish cum.
It's giving Godfather, swimming with the fish.
Okay, I don't know movies. Anyway, so yeah, he survives this and thus gains the knowledge of immortality. Blah, 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 blah. And... stop! He's still filing his nails. Anyways. So basically what happens after this is that Gilgamesh is like, okay, thank you for telling me this story. And I now know that I cannot become immortal, right? I stopped paying attention at this point.
No, but there was this... okay, so I'm gonna recount it because you're dumb as fuck.
Okay. Es que...
So what happens was Utnapishtim told him, okay, fine. You wanna know the secrets of immortality? You will go through a 7 days and 7 night trial in which you are not allowed to sleep. Guess what the fucker does?
Sleep.
He sleeps on the first fucking day.
What can I say? He's an EP
And
girl.
so after he failed, he's like, please give it to me. He's like, fine, I'll give you one exception. If you can find this certain flower or weed that grows, you can gain the power of immortality.
And he finds the...
at the bottom of the ocean.
Yes, okay, I remember now. Let me tell this because it's so funny. He finds the flower and he fights, like, he has to fight to pluck it off the bottom of the ocean. And then at one point he rests in a well to, like, drink water in his journey back to Uruk. And a fucking snake
snatches
the flower.
Or flower, whatever it
yes,
is.
away from him and takes it. And he's like...
and he turned around and didn't see the flower. He's like, fuck.
And he's like, now a snake is immortal. What have I done?
It was probably the snake from Adam and Eve.
I'm saying, like, for some reason, in mythology, snakes are really a cursed animal.
Leviathan. What was his name?
Medusa.
Medusa. And the other one, Jormungandr?
What?
Jormungandr, the giant snake that swallowed the whole world.
Can't.
Honestly, you should read up on Norse mythology. It's really cool.
I will. And if we find anything queer, well, of course, we will record it.
Girl, have you met Loki?
Yeah, have you met Odin? Okay, we need to go through those two.
His cross-dressing era.
Yes, like, and name something more transgender than Odin and Loki.
Honestly.
Okay, whatever. So, the final chapter 7, the death of Gilgamesh. So he dies. And this is where his wife and his son are mentioned, which we had no knowledge of. But like, fine. Of course he had a wife and a son, like he fucked everyone. But there's a beautiful...
The illegitimate whore babies.
Illegitimate whore babies.
Ignore that, we saw a video earlier.
Yeah, so there's a very beautiful poem here as well. The king has laid himself down and will not rise again. The Lord of Kulab will not rise again. He overcame evil, he will not come again. Though he was strong of arm, he will not rise again. He had wisdom and comely face, he will not come again. He has gone into the mountains, he will not come again. On the bed of fate he lies, he will not rise again. From the couch of many colors, he will not come again.
Number 1, he will not come again.
Oh my gosh, shut up, you're so...
By the way, just in case you didn't hear this already, he will not come again.
Yeah, it's over.
He will not rise again.
It's so over.
So I'm not sure what this is saying. It's either he killed himself or he just slept to death.
I think he just became old.
Or he never left his bed or something. Get depressed. All this over some dude.
Wait, let me... Whatever, he just died. And now this is...
Bro died.
bro just died, just dropped dead. And I'm assuming after a lot of years, because he was, after all, three-quarters god. Yeah, he was three-quarters god, so he dies. And both of in the Penguin edition, these are both the only ones that remain in verse instead of prose, which is really cool to me. The poem of Enkidu's death and the poem of Gilgamesh's death.
It's so
romantic.
Yes, 100%. The fact that they both have both those tablets of their deaths, by the way, are in verse. Is super cute.
It's super cute. They're matching.
They're matching. But I think my favorite quote ever from this entire thing is Enkidu's death at his funeral.
Me too.
It was just so...
It's just so beautiful.
Yes.
They are literally...
made for each other.
They literally are. They are made for each other.
Ironically, yes.
Enkidu is literally, quite literally...
created just for Gilgamesh.
Exactly. The people of Uruk were so annoyed at Gilgamesh that they were like, hey, gods, whichever god is hearing me, stop filing your fucking nails, you fucking... Whichever god is hearing me right now, please give this man a man. And that's what I say about Max. Please, someone get this dude a man, because oh my god.
Let me file my nails.
Okay, no.
This is gonna be a recurring theme on this podcast.
Oh my god, I'd rather kill myself.
Me filing my nails, like that one politician.
So what?
You don't know her.
No, I don't. So yes, this has been the queer misadventures of Max and Ida.
Let's go.
Let's go. First episode, Gilgamesh, the very first thing that we preserve.
You, if you are listening, thank you so much for
listening. I
hadn't
finished.
Shut the fuck up. If you are listening, thank you so much for listening, and stay tuned for more. We will be releasing more episodes.
Especially, we're trying to go in chronological order, so it will be about
ancient... like ancient Egypt.
Ancient Egypt, definitely. The queer-ass kings in ancient Egypt.
Honestly, the ones that were buried together, and history says that they were roommates.
The history says that they were roommates, but we say otherwise. And I totally am obsessed with Hadrian and Antinous, so that's we will cover too.
Yeah, that is, we should most definitely
Roman,
cover that.
Then Greek.
And there's this couple that were buried together, the same one that I was talking about. Yes. Their names are
Humhotep and
Hnunhotep and Nianhuhum. I cannot pronounce it.
We will polish the pronunciation.
Exactly. I have butchered it today, but later on in the next episode, we will not butcher it.
We will not butcher it. Hopefully. I mean, it's not like there's any ancient Egyptians to correct us, so.
Okay. Who knows?
So yes, I was just saying it's very interesting that the very first book that remains in history is also definitely queer. Because guys, we are everywhere.
We are definitely everywhere.
We are everywhere. We are inevitable.
No, specifically, I am everywhere.
He is everywhere. I am unending, personally.
We are Gilgamesh, but actually immortal. If he did not, we were Gilgamesh.
And
if he did not sleep on the first day of the trial.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for listening. Farewell.
Farewell. Bye bye.